Bonnie Blue claimed she slept with 1,057 men in just 12 hours. Do the math. That's 720 minutes, which means about 41 seconds per encounter. You hear that number and wonder how anyone's body could possibly keep pace. Picture it, a rotating line of men, piles of condoms, and a countdown clock running for half a day. Is this a world record, or just a staged fantasy made for headlines? Physically dangerous, ethically fraught, financially brilliant? In this video, we'll break down the math, weigh expert scrutiny, and track the cultural fallout. So how does a human body endure it? The so-called impossible record rests on one number: 1,057 men in 12 hours. Run the calculation: 720 minutes divided by 1,057 encounters, and you end up with roughly 41 seconds per person. That timing is the fulcrum of the claim, because it shifts the question from endurance to feasibility. Could a body even tolerate a cycle that is relentless without giving up? Now picture the scene. Reports describe a mansion setting with men lined up in boxer shorts, some even wearing balaclavas. One security guard later called the sight surreal, with 30 or 40 men circling a single room and the floors afterwards littered with used condoms and paper towels. It sounds more like an assembly line than intimacy, and the rigid process only reinforces how mechanical the event must have felt. Here is where biology pushes back. Flesh isn't built for that scale of repetition. Circulation slows, skin becomes vulnerable, and friction causes irritation. Sex therapists and psychosexual experts warn that extended, repeated encounters carry predictable risks: loss of lubrication, swelling, tissue tears, and a heightened chance of infection. Natasha Silverman, a psychosexual therapist cited in British press, pointed out that it's unusual for a woman to stay in arousal for such a span. Without stimulation, the body strains, pain replaces pleasure, and the mental toll adds another layer. And that risk isn't just physical. Silverman also explained how someone under that kind of stress might dissociate, mentally stepping out of their body to mute the discomfort. It's a coping tool she's seen connected to trauma, where a person describes being detached or on autopilot. What looks like stamina may in fact be survival through detachment. The logistics of keeping pace raise another contradiction. Even Bonnie herself admitted later that if the rhythm of the first few hours had continued, she would have struggled. That detail suggests the tempo had to slow, or breaks were longer than advertised, because a pace of less than a minute per man strains credibility. The very math that gave the story its punchline also makes the headline number hard to accept. Meanwhile, outside scrutiny never confirmed the feat. Guinness World Records, known for stamping approval on outlandish achievements, does not certify sexual records. That means there's no independent verification, no stopwatch, no ledger, no official tally. So whether the total figure was accurate, inflated, or simply symbolic, it remains a number without a referee. Still, the choreography presented to audiences told a clear story: quantity over intimacy, a spectacle more theatrical than sensual. Each man stepping forward as another stepped aside, the countdown clock still ticking, and the participant pushed onward under that rhythm. What resulted wasn't romance, or even conventional sex. It was repetition branded as achievement, which raises the crucial pivot. If the number was medically improbable, potentially harmful, and never officially recognized, then why promote it so aggressively? That answer points less to endurance and more to strategy, a calculated decision where outrage itself became the most valuable currency. What might look like spectacle for its own sake was tightly bound to an economic engine. For Bonnie, provocation wasn't an accident, it was strategy. She has openly said in interviews that the more hate I get, the more it increases my bank balance. That line sums up her entire approach: turn offense into currency. By the time she staged her marathon encounter, she already had multiple OnlyFans pages up and running. She described them not as personal journals, but as layered storefronts. One was free, designed to catch casual followers. Another charged for VIP access, bundling discounted content in bulk. And then there were the higher tiers, custom requests and private channels where one-on-one attention sold at a premium. Bonnie has told interviewers that a handful of subscribers spend six-figure sums for bespoke material, and that in her peak months she has made more than $2 million. In the adult industry, those high spenders are sometimes called whales. They're rare, but their spending stabilizes everything else. That structure made controversy a funnel rather than a setback. Every headline or Twitter thread drove fresh eyes to her free page. Once there, the sales staircase began. Start with a free glimpse, upgrade to VIP, and for a few, ascend all the way to commissions that rival a luxury car payment each month. Unlike gossip that fades, she engineered a way for every surge of outrage to convert into revenue. But attention of that magnitude triggers blowback from more than critics. Governments intervened. She was reportedly deported from Fiji after controversy surrounding a schoolies event. Australia revoked a visitor visa following petitions and heavy public backlash. Each border action generated new headlines, which circulated back into digital spaces. The official condemnation only amplified her name. Criticism focused on more than travel documents. Some pressed her over content tags like barely legal, arguing they edged too close to exploitation. Journalists compared parts of her catalog to grooming narratives. For supporters, she was a woman calling her own shots. For others, she represented new packaging for the same old imbalance of men paying to watch. The ethical divide sharpened her profile, forcing audiences to pick a side. Meanwhile, platforms and advertisers responded with their own limits. Press reports noted that OnlyFans declined to host any video featuring hundreds of non-creator participants. And elsewhere, a gambling promotion featuring her drew the attention of regulators, leading to sponsorship fallout. When your brand is outrage, the spillover risk doesn't stop with social media. It lands in boardrooms and government offices. Bonnie herself has countered these narratives by framing everything in terms of independence. She has said, "I'm a woman that's shown you can be independent. Go and earn your millions yourself. You don't need to depend on a guy." With that statement, she cast bans and censorship not as setbacks but as proof of control, a refusal to shrink herself to meet anyone's comfort level. She even embraced critics' labels, once comparing herself to the female Andrew Tate because she speaks without filter and refuses to soften her image. Mainstream media took notice too. Channel 4 produced a documentary that spotlighted her extreme adult stunts, including the 1057 Men story, introducing her to viewers far removed from the online platforms where she made her fortune. That event underscores how calculated controversy can migrate from niche forums to national broadcasts. Scandal opened doors to living rooms that adult content never usually reaches. When you connect all these dots, visa bans, multi-million earnings claims, high-paying patrons, platform pushback, documentaries, it becomes clear that outrage is more than decoration in her career. It sits at the very core of the model, turning criticism into cash flow and rejection into reach. Which leaves a deeper tension. If her business depends on inflamed headlines and polarized reactions, then every controversy pulls double duty, punishment on one hand, profit on the other. And that balance is what makes her story more than just internet noise. It raises questions about how thin the line really is between empowerment and exploitation. This wasn't just a private performance. It was a flashpoint that drew governments, platforms, and press into the same debate. Visa bans, platform restrictions, and mainstream documentaries kept the figure in headlines. At the same time, sex therapists warned about the toll physical pain, psychological strain, and the way stunts like this risk normalizing dangerous standards for younger viewers. Real people, participants, workers, and audiences carry the weight of how it plays out. Tell me where you land, self-mastery or self-destruction. Drop your theory below and share any evidence I missed. If you want more deep but readable takes on moments that shape internet culture, tap subscribe and ring the bell.